First Brexit, then Trump, and now France could be in for a political shake-up. Outsider candidate Francois Fillon has come out on top in the Republican Party's primaries as it seeks to nominate a candidate for the country's 2017 presidential election. RT's Miguel Francis Santiago is across the story.
No one predicted that the center-right French conservative Francois Fillon would get this far.
François Fillon, l'outsider devenu le favori de la primaire de la droite et du centre. Il est arrivé largement en tête du premier tour hier.
Meanwhile, it came as a big surprise that Fillon, who served Sarkozy as prime minister, should win the first round with more than 44% of the vote.
Kicking the former President Sarkozy, who happens to be his ex-boss, out of the polls in the presidential Republican primaries. Who is he? Well, labeled an outsider in this contest and a political has-been. Now, the mainstream French polls never favored him. But what do they know?
People will lie. They'll call the pollster and they'll get all self-conscious. And they'll say that they're going to vote for the candidate that they think they ought to vote for based on their own social class, economic circumstance, and for a weird paranoid fear of what their work colleagues, friends or family might think. But then they'll go in the secret ballot and they'll vote their conscience. And so, insofar as that's happened in this election, I think that that's quite accurate.
Wait a minute. Now, doesn't that remind you of something? Perhaps of a few other political earthquakes of the year, Trump and Brexit. Now, in both of these cases, the mainstream media was sure there would be a completely different outcome.
We shouldn't talk about sure winners, which have been designated sure winners by mainstream media, because if there's one element that we have to learn about the last elections and referendums, all the information which has been given by the mainstream media is at the end totally wrong. And when I say totally, I'm saying that we're talking about 98% of the mainstream media, which were saying that Clinton is going to win, for example, or that Brexit will never win. The mainstream media is not journalism, but politics.
Well, I think there's a lot of similarities going on here, just as there was between Trump and Brexit in England. You see, are these sectors of society protesting? This is a change vote. People are just rejecting the old parties that are associated with the old policies.
Well, perhaps we should be gearing up for a few more surprises around the world. I'm Miguel Francis Santiago, RT.
Well, the second and deciding round of Republican primaries is going to be held next weekend, and polls are predicting that Fillon will become the party's presidential candidate. The presidential election in France is set for springtime. And now the media seems to be using the time before the vote to launch a smear campaign against Fillon. Some are playing their favourite card and claiming he has links to Vladimir Putin. Others draw parallels with Donald Trump and his willingness to improve relations with Russia and its president. And one French magazine pictured the leading candidate as former British PM Margaret Thatcher, hinting at his admiration for the Iron Lady.